Wow, let's see if this works. Well, hi, sports fans. It's me, Pacific. It's time to talk. A lot to talk about. I don't get on here too much. My videos are on Facebook, and I don't send that out simply because Disney has gone too far. Governor DeSantis in Florida, in my opinion, has done an outstanding job. There were cargo ships that were stationed off the coast of California. Governor Newsom in California has done a very crappy job of governing the state. In fact, anybody who's a Democrat is doing a crappy job governing their states, governing the House of Representatives, and we got a president that has successfully jacked up gas prices, jacked up inflation, has caused problems in just a little over a year of his being in charge. The denial from the left is self-evident. We don't need to beat that dead horse. But Governor DeSantis is the new whipping post now. Now in Florida, they are putting up billboards that say you're gay. And that is not what DeSantis said. He didn't say, don't say you're gay. He did not say that. As one who works with school-aged children for many, many years of my life, sexual politics has no place with little kids. Absolutely no place. Kindergarten to third grade, absolutely no place. The kids, and I want to talk about that because before anybody gets going here, I'm not a homophobe. I've had some bi-curiousness over the years, but I'm into women, okay? So I don't have a phobic of gay people. What I don't like is the LGBT, and now it's got a whole bunch of addendums to it. I'm not even going to try to keep track of that. As shoving and ramming their agenda on everybody. I hear people all the time, you try to talk to somebody about Christianity, don't push religion down my throat. Make no mistake about it. The diverse sexual agenda is being rammed down people's throats. And if you don't accept it, you're going to lose your job. If somebody's a transgender, born a man but wants to be a woman, and you call that person a sir, they can get you fired. We're living in a whole new place. Toto, we're not in Kansas anymore. Disney, I'm not going to get into whether it was family moral or any of this. Walt Disney was an entrepreneur. Walt Disney produced something that became very iconic America. I remember Saturday nights as a child living in LA that I would race to the TV set to see the Disney special. I am sure many people my age on down are familiar with that. They had good stuff back in the day, clean stuff. You didn't have to worry about penis politics. You didn't have to worry about things being tainted with somebody's agenda. They were kid-friendly. And I went to Disneyland. I grew up, I had a Mickey Mouse plastic bank. And now the corporations in America have become political. All joining the left, all joining the media, all joining the public education system of the continental United States of America, from Head Start all the way up to the university level, all pushing an agenda of pro-socialism, all social engineering to get people to stop having babies, because remember, Bill Gates and all the big guys gobbling up most of the world's money, Zuckerberg and others are pro-population control. Let me make that clear. That's what shocked me about COVID-19 is everybody was so terrified. Everybody mask up, everybody stay indoors. Wait a minute. I thought you population pundits, why don't you let it thin the herd, man? I got COVID. I got it in August last year, and it kicked my butt. I'd gotten the Johnson, the one and done, and they led us to believe that this would solve the problem. It didn't. I know people today, they wear masks religiously. Not just one, but 2, 3, and a face shield. We have a joke nowadays that when you see people driving around in their car by themselves with the windows up and a mask on, you go, yeah, nothing spawned a generation of Karens faster than 2020 and COVID-19. You're not social distancing. I love Paul Joseph Watson, one of my favorite YouTube artists. The guy's funny. He's great. And you're not practicing social distancing. You're not wearing a mask. Women getting up into people's faces to tell them they didn't have a mask. One woman walking through a park, seeing an older couple eating their picnic lunch at a table removed. She comes over and spits on them. You're not wearing a mask. She's lucky somebody didn't get up and clean her clock. 2020 has been a dumpster fire, a true definition of a dumpster fire. 2020 is unlike anything I've ever seen. Myself and everybody I know suffered all kinds of things. Not going to get into that here. But when I got COVID, I had 8 days of fever. First time I'd missed work ever in how many years. And I thought I was going to die. In fact, I asked God, I said, is this how it goes? Take me. I'm ready. I'm ready. I quarantined myself in my home. I'd go out, hit the stores. All I craved was fruit juice and salty stuff. I didn't make complete meals. I started buying some canned soups. I started eating things. Man, I really thought I was going to die. My hair was down past my shoulders. I was sweating and fevers. I finally had my hair cut off because it was driving me nuts. And at last, I'm growing it back for all my viewers that matter. I liked it long. And I got through it. Didn't take anything special. I just got through it. And I prayed. And anyways, rabbit trailing, which is one of my greatest characteristics, getting back on the issue at hand, is Disney has moved from being a wholesome entertainment industry to making a statement about the gay agenda. And I'm going to tell you something. I have biblical beliefs about it, okay? But I also believe that people struggle with curiousness, gay stuff, whatever. Pushing that on children, pushing that on people is not okay. The same way I'd say don't push Christianity, but let me caveat that. That does not mean I cannot discuss my faith. That does not mean that I cannot use my faith as a lawmaker, if I'm in the politics or a law legislature. I can use my convictions to influence how I'm going to go with whether I vote or shoot down an issue at hand. And for those that want to scream and yell, keep religion out of politics, well, keep your sexuality out of politics, okay? And keep Muslim stuff out of politics and keep every single thing out of politics, but they don't. And it's interesting that Tim Cook, now the leader of Apple, has joined hands with Disney to back them on this silly, angry tirade against DeSantis. And the Democrats are scrambling now to find a way to, why is it? Our education system for the longest time did not tolerate older men messing with little kids. And now today, you've got Governor Newsom has gotten rid of penalties, or the state of California was changing something about basically a man and a boy sexually playing around and softening the penalties on that. And it's become apparent to me, in my former rants, I used to talk about American women and the downfall of them and how they've become virtually undateable. And you do wise to steer clear of them. But let me update that. That's starting to happen on a global level. I've been to the Philippines twice. I spent time in Hong Kong, as most of my former viewers know. But things have changed since then. The internet is changing us. The internet is changing things rapidly. Now you have Filipinos posting pictures of themselves doing this You have women in Thailand that are pretty holding a martini and doing this. And it seems like the feminization, the westernization, the uncouth characteristics of what was the norm here is now globally jetting everywhere fast. And what is happening is it gets harder and harder for men to get a date unless you're an ATM or a cash register. And now it seems that everybody's very much encouraging behavior that God doesn't approve of. And people get very angry when you say that God says homosexuality is a sin. I'm just telling you what it says in the book. And no one is without sin. I'm not, you're not. So I'm not being self-righteous. I'm not beating on a self-righteous drum. We've all sinned and fallen short of the glory of God. But when you have a company that's explicit purposes is for entertainment, Disneyland is entertainment. We don't need it. It's not necessary for our survival. If it fell off the face of the earth, I'd be like, yawn. It's entertainment. And what's happening is billion-dollar corporations, Zuckerberg of Facebook, Bezos of Amazon, they're making more and more political statements, and they're worth billions of dollars. And what Washington could not get done, they're realizing that these big corporations can get a lot done. Shame people. They're talking about, the right to keep and bear arms. And I'm stealing this from a talk show guy that I listen to on a local radio station here, saying, the time may come, Washington wants to ban the guns, but they can't do it. But an insurance agent can say, we're going to check and see if you have guns registered. And if you have registered guns, we're not going to insure your house or your car until you get rid of the guns. Corporate America is waking up to how powerful it is. They're cutthroat. They're dangerous. They're promoting socialism. They're aligning themselves with the left while they were greedy, gluttonous, capitalistic pigs. Nancy Pelosi's worth, they're saying now 300 million, but I checked on the Siri, said 120 million. Oprah Winfrey's worth $1 billion. And you look at The View, there's so much wrong with it. ABC stands for all bull crap, okay? NBC is nothing but crap. CBS is constant bullshit. NPR is nothing public radio, and CNN is clown news network. PBS is a puberty broadcast system because it's funded by the LGBT community. And money speaks, and money carries. And people are so greedy in this country for money that they will not offend their largest contributors. But what about the Black Lives Matters movement? And you look at Jeff Bezos saying Black Lives Matters. Okay, Jeff Bezos is white. Facebook, all these big guys are white boys. They hire mostly white people. Google, I think, is the president of that is an India guy. But these guys are filthy rich. I always laugh when people tell me that the Republicans are rich. I said, find me a Republican as rich as these social media guys. Find me one. And the room gets silent. I said, you can't. But Disney has moved beyond entertainment to pontificating and acting as some sort of an overlord, saying that if you don't get behind this, why would anybody be against a governor saying from kindergarten to third grade, we need to leave the children alone? Do you remember a long time ago, the school system was all about protecting kids? Don't take candy from strangers. Don't walk home alone. Don't get into some man's car. Now they're encouraging kids to explore their sexuality, even teaching it in the classroom at a very young age. Telling boys if they want to be a girl, they can go in the girl's bathroom. I've already talked about an education system that's emotionally driven logic. The bulk of the teaching staff in public, primary education from K through 12 are females, dominated by liberal feminists that go to liberal arts college to get a teaching degree. They take women's studies, which teaches them basically their men are bad and you don't really need a man and blah, 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 blah. But what is happening in America is as Mr. Trudeau said, clown of Canada, is calling it the Great Reset. And make no mistake about it, we're headed towards a one world government. It's become so clear in the last 3 years that they've mandated the masks. They were mandating the vaccines for a while. Now things are slacking off. The polls for Joe Biden are going into the toilet bowl. And an election's coming up where it clearly looks like the Republicans are going to get the midterms. But I'm going to tell you what I said on Facebook today. Don't think that the Republicans are going to turn this around. The Republicans are a sorry bunch of spineless cowards. And they are not doing a good job. And they're not going to win the midterms because Pelosi and Kamala Harris and AOC and Biden and these Democrats are already drunk on power. Look at how they're spending money. We got a war with the Ukraine. Okay. And Biden saying, well, we don't want to get involved with that, but yet they are involved because he approved of Congress $400 million or some $800 million to go over there. And in Russia's eyes, we're involved. And I told people, don't be surprised. They already told Biden, give us back Alaska. We're going to be nuclear consequences. Putin is no guy to play with. Putin is not a one world government player. And why are the Democrats all of a sudden ganging up on Putin? You hear Nancy Pelosi and Kamala Harris say, well, it's a democracy, the Ukraine. Oh, you're worried about protecting a democracy while you're trying to turn ours into the Third Reich. Okay. So you got to dig a little deeper. What's going on? Well, let's see. Daddy-O and Hunter Biden-O have been doing scammy-o and Ukraine-o and making lots of money-o and lots of dodo. And here's the facts. Why is the media investigating Hunter Biden right now? Well, one of my good black female friends in her 60s just got engaged to her man. I shoot pool and dance on Fridays, and we like to listen to some of the music that the DJs have. And she told me, my belief is they're trying to make Hunter the fall guy. He'll go to jail for his stuff. He'll take all the blame. And then Daddy, the last 2 years in office, he'll pardon him so he can get out of prison. Because Biden said he's not going to run again. Oh, please don't. And now Peter Buttigieg is going to run. I heard that today, and I'm like, oh boy, so now we could possibly have a gay president. Let me tell you something, folks. Sexual politics is taking over. I'm a very sexual person. I've been very open and honest on my previous YouTube channel. I'm a very sensual guy, but there's a time and a place. And people who believe it's okay to participate in stuff like homosexual stuff, I don't want them in charge. I do not want them in charge. I don't want an entertainment industry screaming and yelling and getting angry that little kids aren't being taught sexual politics. Why do we not let kids be kids? The wonder of being a child. And they're growing up in a world today that I did not grow up in. I grew up with my own set of problems. But these kids are being exposed to stuff that we never were exposed to. For example, when I was a kid, the only way to get a porno magazine, Playboy or Penthouse was the going thing of the day, is if somebody stole it from their father's collection and passed it around at school, behind the school, and you shoved it under your book bag or backpack, brought it home and stuffed it between your mattress. And then when you were done, you passed it on to somebody else. Now today, you can get on the internet, and with a couple of keystrokes, you're into the whole wide world of how to make bombs and how to do a woman bukkake style and hentai porn and you name it, anime porn and all that. And yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. But Disney has crossed a line. They're off the chain that we need to keep sexuality away from the children at that age. We need to keep it out of there. I think it should be more than third grade. I think it should be up there. And they're opening the door for pedophilia. They are opening the door to groom the kids. And somebody, a female, just recently used that word, and Disney said that they want to bring as many queer characters into their movies as they can. I mean, they're clearly being blunt about it. There's no hiding this anymore. And I've got a problem with that. The Bible says, better for a millstone to be hung around somebody's neck than to teach or to cause one of these little ones to stumble. When you're corrupting the kids, when you're influencing and manipulating the kids, and that is not their natural bent, by the way. Kindergartners are not thinking about boners and girls or any of that. Kindergartners are thinking the way a kindergarten, a 4 or 5-year-old kid would think. And there needs to be some innocence with childhood. Sadly, that's not happening. And for Apple, he's worth $170 million or something outrageous. Tim Cook, and he's now saying that he supports Disney and this and that. And I'm like, now the corporations are going to get behind stuff and make a statement. Look at what they did to Russia. Look at what Trudeau did. Seized GoFundMe. How can they legally do that? But if we look at Revelation and we look at what the Bible says about this, we know for a fact that we're headed towards a one world government. The government's meddling in just about everything now. And America is the one country that once we capitulate to this, we're the last free nation. And once we lose that, it'll be easy for tyrants to go in the Philippines and other cultures and say, well, you better bow the knee or else. They're taxing Bitcoin. Biden wants to tax Bitcoin. That he's already devaluing the dollar and throwing debt upon debt upon debt upon debt and build back better and spend $1 trillionaire and $1 trillionaire and everywhere $1 trillion. And he wants to do millions of dollars to get a manned mission to Mars. Yeah, that's important. And he was so excited about passing a lynching bill that if you lynch somebody, that will be called a racist hate crime. Wow, I'm glad you got on that. I was unaware that lynchings were a daily problem in the United States. Didn't that happen like the 1800s? Or some whack did it recently, and we made a whole bill for that? They're focusing on fleas, folks. They're focusing on true fleas. And people can say whatever they want about Donald Trump, but the fact is my gas was less than half of what it is now. Building materials were less. Food was less. Have you checked your receipt when you go to the grocery store now? Scary, isn't it? And every time you put these people in office, this is reminiscent of Jimmy Carter. I remember that. OPEC, waiting in line at the gas station, rising gas prices. Everybody hated Hondas and Toyotas, and then all of a sudden everybody started looking at it different when they realized what kind of good mileage they got. But the problem is we're not set up. We don't have the infrastructure, in place to get everybody on an $80,000 Tesla. A ridiculous thing. Now, no offense against Elon Musk. He has some great ideas. I'm not in his trucks. I'm old school. I like my old 60s pickup trucks any day of the year. But people can't afford an $80,000 Tesla. People don't have charging stations. And they already said if everybody gets an electric car, it's going to overtax the grid powerly. And it's crazy. It's no thinking is going on in Washington right now. Elon Musk wants to take on Twitter because he says it's so biased. He's got the money. And I said that. If you want to destroy YouTube, you want to destroy Facebook, be worth billions of dollars and just start a new site and get everybody to go over there and you'll crush them. But you got to have the money to do it because if somebody like me were to start something like that, Facebook and all them Google would refuse to carry it on their platform. I mean, The search engines wouldn't even let you get on. I mean, don't you see the bullying that's going on with the big tech? It's the revenge of the nerds, folks. The pen protector in the pocket and these guys that everybody laughed at as being geek, they're getting revenge and getting it really good on masses of people. And what's sad about Democrats is they don't want to leave well enough alone. They don't want me or you to achieve the American dream. They want you to be groveling in the dust while they live in mansions and have investment portfolios and the best healthcare in the land. And they're not modeling at all what they're trying to sell us. But Disney's off the chain. They're in the wrong. They have catered to children with their entertainment, and they should hold a standard in front of the children that says, you know what, we're not doing the sexual thing with kids. And the fact that they refuse to do that, I'm done with them. I will never watch a Disney movie again. Not that I watch it anyway. I think I watched Pixar's Cars, which was Disney, and I think that was the last one I watched. But it doesn't really matter. I was watching about Jeff Bezos and some YouTube videos talking about working for his Amazon is no picnic. He's cutthroat. He's mean. He's, it's corporately stifling. And, he has no compassion on weak people. One of his close-up people next to him said he doesn't have patience for weak people. And it's a go, go, go environment. And I just think it's interesting that people that make the biggest money are the most wicked, meanest, nastiest sons of guns to work for. And you look at the slap of Chris Rock. I don't watch the Oscars. Of course, I had to hear about it because it was blown all over social media. And Will Smith did that. And that in itself was interesting. Chris makes a joke, calls her G.I. Jane. He laughs, ha, 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 looks at his wife, sees the pissed look on her face, and then he thought, uh-oh, I got to let my testosterone kick in, walks down to the stage and pops the guy. And what was disturbing was all those liberal Hollywoods clapping at him for it. National television, Jerry Springer goes to the Oscars. Woohoo. Our country's descending into the toilet. There's no hope for it. The only hope is if you believe in God, believe in his truth, and believe that this is setting the stage for a one world leader called the Antichrist, who's going to eventually force us all to go to a one currency system or a cashless society. And the reason that Democrats are so angry about Russia is because Russia doesn't play the games. Russia doesn't need us. Ezekiel 38 and 39 talk about a future tense when Russia is going to go after, as well as many Muslim nations with them, and they're going to go after Israel, and Israel will have no allies. And God himself is going to intervene, and it says, I will turn back but a sixth of thee. Russia is going to be destroyed by God. So just bide your time with them. The rest of these clown nations that are getting on board the one world Babel, Tower of Babel bus, and God is going to deal with them too. But as specific, I hate to tell my friends this, but you can kiss what you know about America goodbye. It's going, gone. How long before God comes back? We don't know the day or the hour. But be encouraged. It's going to get ugly before it gets pretty. And the world around us, those that aren't Christians, those that aren't saved, they think this is all great stuff. God's trying to prepare us for a different place, heaven. And he doesn't want us caught up in this. He wants us to be wise. He wants us to be different than the world around us. And you're going to get hell for that. You're going to get hell for that. If you stand up for what is right, DeSantis, you're going to be an enemy of everybody. Calling good evil and evil good. Disney, shame on you. You are in the wrong 100%. And you will give an account to God for this. Each individual in your organization that supports this foolishness, leave the children alone. I think of Pink Floyd's song, and I'm going to sing it. We don't need no education. We don't need no thoughts control. Hey, teacher, leave them kids alone. Get your penis politics away from the children. Let the kids grow up and have their innocence. For the love of God and for the sake of sanity and the sake of what's right, leave those kids alone. You've got to. You've got to. Thanks for listening. This is Pacific. Y'all have a wonderful day.